Dear colleagues, good morning. Ukraine Crisis Media Center starts its working day, and the topic of press briefing is lustration process in Kyiv region, current problems and possible solutions. Our speakers are Yuriy But, head of the Kyiv Regional Department of all-Ukrainian Committee of Ukrainian Voters, and also Oleksandra Drik and Artem Omelchenko, director of the Respublika Institute Monitoring Project for implementation of legislation on the lustration. Good afternoon. I'm glad to see you all at our press briefing. And we are going to tell you about lustration process in Kyiv region, current problems and possible solutions. And today we're going to inform you on this issue, about the results of lustration, and also about problems that exist and how to solve them. The problem of lustration is important and discussed among the public, and the Committee of Voters presented a research in 2015, and it showed that 9 in 10 people support lustration. And the question arises, what our people know about lustration. And in our offices we also see that people ask why some officials are not lustrated, especially judges, because judges sometimes take illegal decisions, and it disturbs the public. And lustration is only for those who worked under Yanukovych in prosecutor's office, that prosecuted people who were in Euromaidan. But society wants broader lustration. From the other side, we don't have a single body that is involved in lustration. This process is decentralized, and the public has a special role in the process to monitor in what way these processes are developed and who tries to postpone lustration. So this project was carried out, and the Respublika Institute also carried out this project, and also there were some trainings that gave the opportunity to the public to understand the instruments of lustration. And the role of society is important in lustration process. We were helped by Lustration Committee, Civic Lustration Committee. This is an NGO that deals professionally with these issues, and we have today Oleksandra Drik, and I would like her to tell you not only about the results of lustration, but also about the process of lustration, maybe some faults, some obstacles, and maybe how some problems in this sphere, and also about status of ATO servicemen. The status was provided to 86,000 of people, and the majority got the status. They were just observers there. They didn't take any part in military actions. And the work is on the way to improve legislation in the sphere of lustration, and there are some draft laws that are registered in the Supreme Council in order to introduce some changes and to improve the institutions. 900 people were lustrated, and they are not allowed to be in office for 5 or even 10 years. But many people got, they are left, and they were not lustrated, but they they should be considered lustrated, but they can be in office despite this rejection, but in this way they can avoid lustration, and the main task of society to monitor such persons. But the information about these people is hidden, and this work is difficult, but Civic Lustration Committee carry out this work and form the list of these people, and we thank the committee for this. And we are concerned that there are more than 20 people's deputies in the Supreme Council who is under lustration, and also the Committee of Voters should carry out some educational work how to identify such persons among the candidates and explain people why you shouldn't vote for such people. Also about the results of lustration in Kyiv Oblast, we ask to tell us about it. I give the floor to my colleague from Institute Respublika, who conducted the monitoring. And we are speaking only about those persons who are in the register, and those who didn't, and who are in fact lustrated. This is other data. And also we are going to tell about the problems of lustration, and this information will be provided by Oleksandra Drik, President of HO Civic Lustration Committee. I ask Artem to speak.
Good morning. As it has already been said, our project monitoring of lustration process, we process the data from the register of the Ministry of Justice. We enter the information about how many persons have been lustrated in executive bodies, and we have names of those lustrated bureaucrats. So as of March 14, 2016, 92 persons have been lustrated in the city of Kyiv. In the prosecutor's office, 21 persons. In the Ministry of Interior, 43, in the security service 3, and in district administration 3. As concerns the grounds on which these bureaucrats have been lustrated, I would like to say that the law on lustration supposes two types of bans, an administrative and a court ban. A court ban has not been applied yet because the Constitutional Court now considers some matters concerning it, and so administrative ban has been applied to all the persons that have been lustrated so far. So 44 persons have been lustrated for holding offices during Yanukovych reign or killings of Heavenly Hundreds at Euromaidan. And 41 for the illegal actions against Euromaidan protesters, 5 persons for not supplying not supplying their applications, their declarations of assets in time, and also for asset lustration, 5 persons. In the fiscal service, there were 3 persons: Mosanovska Oksana, state inspector of customs post of Kyiv Customs Office, Getman Nadia, State Inspector of Customs Office at Zhuliany Airport, and Khazhinova Anastasia, Chief State Inspector with the Department of State-owned Assets in the city of Kyiv. As concerned District Administration, Savchuk Ludmila from the Register of Voters in Kyiv, and Yashenko Sergei, Head of Environmental Office at Pechersk District State Administration. As concerned Kyiv region, the following persons have been illustrated. 31 persons. I would like to say that this indicator for Kyiv, 92 persons who have been illustrated. It is the highest in Ukraine. No other region has illustrated more persons. Kyiv pioneers and leads the process. In Kyiv region, 31 bureaucrats have been illustrated in the executive bodies. In the prosecutor's office, 12 persons have been illustrated, 12 persons have been also illustrated in the Ministry of Interior. In Security Service Office, 2 persons, and 4 persons from the prosecutor's office, and they were illustrated for holding offices during killings at Euromaidan and Yakovich reign, and 2 persons for asset illustrations, 2 persons for not supplying declarations during established period, and 10 persons for illegal actions during Euromaidan protests, and no person have been illustrated under decommunization criterion. This means that the security service has not found in Kyiv or Kyiv region either KGB or Communist Party leaders. So this means that the State Fiscal Service sabotage the lustration process. As concerned assets lustration, I would like to say the general indicator for Kyiv and Kyiv region is 7 persons, and even comparing with other administrative units, this figure is insignificant, both as concerned this State's Fiscal Service. We can say that State Fiscal Service sabotage the process, and maybe it conducts examinations in an incorrect manner. And the Security Service, both of these bodies, they are subject to lustration. State Fiscal Service and State Security Service issues certificates to conduct decommunization and assets examinations in the course of administration lustration process. And now I'm giving the floor to Oleksandra Drik, President of the NGO Civic Lustration Committee. Good morning, dear colleagues. I would like to say that the Civic Lustration Committee is the author of the law and the main combatant for its observance, and we have monitored how the process of lustration have been conducted this year, assessing the lustration process in Ukraine as a start of cleaning the regime, the bureaucratic offices, as we wished at Euromaidan. That step has been conducted, but by the civil society, not by the executive bodies or regime. It shows the conflict between the society and the power, which is not ready to fit the demands of the civil society. As concerns the process, we, being an NGO, we have won 6 victories. We have developed this law, and this law has been adopted. The second step was that it has been passed. The first step which we made it was that it has been developed, this law. The third step, twice we stopped the cancellations of this law twice by the court. The judges who evade lustration and save other bureaucrats from lustration. The fourth, we have established communications and contacts with the Venice Commission. It has approved the lustration law. Today this is the official opinion of the Commission, and it allows Ukraine to conduct automatic lustration, and it approved that this complies with the standards adopted in Europe. The last step is that we helped with helping top managers of the country, top leaders, some of them to be lustrated, and 42 of them deputy ministers, heads of executive bodies in the regions. They have been lustrated and dismissed. And the last, we have developed the register of persons to be lustrated. This is the most extensive source of persons who should be lustrated. They are all persons who are not allowed to hold offices for 10 years at the state bodies, and it covers not only leaders of the Yanukovych regime, but also MPs being now in the parliament. Their MP offices are elected, but they can't be appointed to those offices where appointments are made, not electoral positions. This is a task of the lustration law, because lustration means a ban. The key criterion is not to let persons return to offices for 10 years. Those persons who are subject to this law. The sabotage is vast. We have published the report to the 1-year anniversary of the lustration process, where we demonstrate how the state evades lustration. In Kyiv, there are judges who covers and saves. There are 3 judges of Kyiv court, Kaliberda, Lishin, and Kachin. Lishin, he is subject to lustration himself, by the way. In the situation when the power is not lustrated in a good faith. So last year, when the Anti-Corruption Committee had a meeting, we were talking that temporarily we should take actions to stop those judges from saving the bureaucrats from lustration and from sabotage. Today we face a more serious problem. The Constitutional Court is going to try to cancel the lustration law for the third time. Twice we have managed to stop the Constitutional Court from canceling the law. I have the document. This is the answer from the General Prosecutor's Office, saying that the General Prosecutor's Office has proved that 6 judges of 18 members of the Constitutional Court that they are accomplished with the Yanukovych regime crimes. So Гультай, Запорожец, Колес, Лилак, Марк, Орчаренко, Шептала. Due to career development purposes, they violated the Constitution of Ukraine, abused their powers, and violated Article 2 of the Constitution. They issued illegal decisions in the case of MPs of Ukraine request. So this resulted in returning the Constitution of 1996 into effect. 2 years the investigation has been on the way, and nobody is under suspicion. This proves failure to act on the part of the General Prosecutor's Office, and the person who controls the General Prosecutor's Office activities, this is the President of Ukraine, and this means that he is interested in this sabotage, and that these judges who sabotaged the lustration law, he needs them, the president needs them. Those changes that have been adopted, they resulted in the deaths of protesters, So the lustration law, we have filed a petition as to the lustration law, and former Party of Regions oppositional MPs, they yesterday started the system which has been sabotaged by Groisman, and as a Vadim Denisenko has supplied the first version. This system should be blocked this year. The system of electronic declarations is a very powerful tool to combat corruption, and it should finalize, along with the National Anti-Corruption Agency, the Assets Lustration, which have the State Fiscal Service, because when the state office holders' declarations can be examined, this would mean that all these corruption related persons, they would be dismissed from their offices, and not only lustration is sabotaged, but corruption combating is also sabotaged, and this is done by the leaders of the country, started with number 1 leader of our country. So to protect the lustration law, we need to protect it again, because the Constitutional Court would be hearing the attempt to cancel it, and if it is cancelled, the Yanukovych system would be restored in full, which we have been trying to cancel for these 2 years after the Euromaidan. If the Lustration law is cancelled, all the results we obtained during 2 years, they will be leveled up. So at 9:30 near the Constitutional Court on 25th of March, we will have a rally against Constitutional Courts trying to decide to cancel this law. I hope this would be the last attempt to cancel the Lustration law.
Thank you, colleagues. Do you have some questions or comments? If there's no comments and questions, thank you very much for coming and goodbye.